Welcome, students.
Welcome, students. Today we will discuss unit number  the topic tools and media of public relations. In this unit, we will learn about the public relations and media, that is newspapers, radio, television, social media, and how to prepare a press release, how to conduct a press conference, how to product a house journal, and how to prepare a newsletter, how to prepare brochures, and how to conduct open house and exhibitions, and also how to prepare annual report by the public relations officer, and what the importance of photographs in the public relations. All these were the tools for the public relations, for public relations practice. Now, we will discuss one by one in all these topics. First, what is media? Generally, we know mass media, which included newspapers, radio, television, and nowadays we have a social media, online, and digital media, cyber media, whatever the name is. But ultimately this comes under the social media in the nowadays practice. Again, in the newspapers is a print form, and there is many types of newspapers, like daily newspapers, weekly newspapers, monthly newspapers, and bi-monthly newspapers. Like we have many in various kinds of types based on the format and the size. Broadsheet newspapers, tabloid newspapers, and in between that mid we call it is a Berlier. These kind of sizes available in the newspapers. Now, another major media is radio. Radio is a audio form of the waveform in the medium, audio medium. It is generally in the radio. We know news bulletins, radio talks, radio features, radio documentaries are related to the news. Now coming to the another major media is television. We have earlier days we have a cable televisions through cable, and there is a cable television channels which they produce 2 or 3 bulletins every day in the morning hours, afternoon hours, and evening hours. Yeah. So television is an audio visual medium. Uh, you can see and hear at a time. Now coming to the social media, it's a multimedia. We can give a text in the form of picture. We may run a video with slides. We can include graphics. We can include our voice at a time. Voice, video, audio, photography, graphics, everything is possible with the social media. Now, the public relations officers, another major role is to prepare press releases, and we have to be conducted press conferences also. Communication is considered the lifeblood of public relations, and mass media are the channels of communication. So public relations officer need to send some message through his public means is organization public, or even though sometimes to the every citizen in the country or in the state, in the world, whatever the company related to the products or services related to their space, means the area, whether the product is available in the America. So the message should be reach the American customer also. Yeah, we have discussed already newspapers, radio, television, and new media, digital, social media. All these are the channels for sending the information, the message to the public of that organization. For example, a news have to be come in the newspapers of one particular organization. Then what happens? The publications officer's role to be involved here. You have to prepare one press release. Otherwise, you have to be conduct a press conference. His role is to conduct press release, press conferences. Otherwise, you have to write one press release. And sometimes you have to conduct open house, exhibitions. All these are the part of the publications practice. So, public relations need media, either in any channel, on a print media, radio, television, or new media, whatever it is. Another major practice by the public relations officer is to write a press release. Press release is one of the tactics or methods of newspaper or other media like a television, radio, social media, whatever it is, through which information is transmitted to the larger audience, mass media, mass audience, mass communication. It is one of the oldest and most effective publication tools as information that is communicated through newspapers, television, radio, magazines. Nowadays we have a social media, many social media platforms, handles like X, Twitter handle, and Facebook network, and the social media, WhatsApp, we have a app application along with mainstream media. So in the form of press release, or it is one kind of it gives some impact more than advertisement. Let us discuss on the guidelines for writing press releases. A good headline that holds the people's attention, whatever it is in the writing, maybe a poem or a news article or a feature article or a document article or a novel headline or the caption gives the attention to the people to whether they read it or not. So a good headline that holds people's attention, the public's attention. Another key point is coverage. Which media is required to reach the information to the concerned public? For organization, for example, one organization offer a small product. So for that, they need to choose which kind of medium is required, media is required. For example, their target audience are illiterate. So they may choose radio form, radio medium for communication, for transmission, the information, the message. So right platform is also an important point. So which platform or which channel is based on that we have to write our press release. For sometimes we need to write a press release for print media, radio, and electronic media, even though social media. So in case of these multiple medias, our writing, our sentences should be match all the categories of the mediums. We know in the semester 1, 2, 3, 4, we have learned various mediums like a printing medium. The writing style for printing medium is quite different than the writing style for the electronic media. Again, in the electronic media, there is a 2 points for audio, only audio, the radio. For audio and visual, there is a television. For multimedia, audio, visual, graphics, voice, and text, interaction, graphics, images, which all included in the multimedia of social media. So we need to focus which medium we are targeting. Or in case a single media, no problem. We can easily write our press release. In case a multimedia, so we must take care to reach all kind of mediums. It is suitable to the all kind of medias. We must include facts and figures of our company, or in general what we have searched in our research. So publications officers' duty is also to research, to get the facts, to get the figures. That should be in an easy way to understand. In case, for example, you have to give a number in a, for example, if you say 2,24,250 rupees, instead of this big number, you may short it as a 2 decimal, like 2,24 lakhs, 2.24 lakhs. It's made the same figure, but it is easy to understand the audience, the public, in any media, either print or public or social media or radio or television. Another major point is avoid grammatical mistakes. In general, we can do it. Nowadays, we have n number of applications available. We may use it. We may subscribe it. We may use it. So it is easy, make easy us to write a press release. We may use it, no problem. Even though we may excel in either any media, either Telugu, as a publications officer, we have to be excel in the mediums, various kind of mediums, Hindi, Telugu, and English. Mostly press releases in the English. So we must be excel in the language. Include your contact information for if any doubt by the public means here media personals maybe. We are releasing press release, not for public, sorry, for newsletters, for brochures, for in-house journals that will go to the public of that organization. But in press releases, that is meant for the new press, means television, radio, print, whatever the media. If you have included your phone number in the press release, if any doubt, if they get any doubt, they may contact the public relations officer for clarifications. Another one is make it brief. Instead of a lengthy 4 pages, 5 pages of text, you may conclude it with 1 or 2 pages. That is easy to understand the press personnel, and also the view in the news, in the print media or electronic, whatever it is easy because there is a space for the print media and aid time for the electronic media is important for them. There is a scope for social media. Then you may mention any number of pages also, but you may give a link in the press release to get more details. You just ask them to click on the link. It's easy. It is possible in the social media. Written in a third person instead of using I am, you are. This is just we know he or she like a third person, we have to use a third person. This is not my own press release. This is by the organization. So we don't use our own opinions, own perceptions in the press release. Based on the instructions by the management, only we have to give in this press release. So don't write in our first person like I. Don't use the word I. Even though in the newspapers also we don't use I or my opinion, except the opinion stories or column stories or editorial stories. In general news, we don't use I. Means my opinion is not required. Only authentic attribution sources are required for the reader. Now coming to the press conference, how to conduct a press conference, what guidelines have to be followed. Generally, what is press conference? Press conference is a collective interview of media persons. We distinct to one media and telling about our information. It gets stressed to us. And to visit many media houses by the managing director or CEO of that organization, it's a difficult. And sometimes in a crisis time, many phone calls we will receive from the various media channels. So answer each one is difficult. So at that time, we will conduct a press conference where all the media will gather. We will explain. We will give our opinions or how to overcome our crisis. Maybe sometimes many press conference conducts for the purpose of to release annual reports, and also in case of crisis time, and sometimes what they achieved to elaborate, to explore themselves, they will conduct the press conferences. A press conference is a tool designed to generate odd news that is defined as a news that is timely, significant, prominent, and relevant. It is a means of directly communicating with the media representatives to place on record the organization's point of view on an important matter and concern. Many, for the example, is for annual reports or otherwise annual general meeting, otherwise budget related to that. So the many organization conducts the press conferences. Generally, we see in the newspapers quarterly reports, annual, half-yearly reports. Many companies they conduct a press conference, and in the press conference they explore their quarterly report results, achievements, whatever. Annually report, otherwise half-yearly report, half-yearly results. Generally, we experienced it in the newspapers, in the media. There is some systematic to organize a press conference. What is the purpose? For example, to explore the results of quarterly results of their company. It's one kind of purpose. Otherwise, in case of any crisis, any misleading, any misinformation in the public, so then the organizations they choose the press conference. So public relations officer need to organize a press conference. In the press conference, you must quote the venue, and we have to prepare one invitation also to send it to the all media through agencies, or otherwise if they have a own crew, then the invitations to be distributed with the own crew. Otherwise, there is a private agencies. They may supply invitations to the public. Next, background material and some press kits. So background material, by so at a time all the press media gathered and they need to know some background about that company, that organization. Without the information, maybe the press personnel, the reporters may be confused. So instead of this confusion, they will give some background material about their company, their previous records, their previous results in case of crisis management, how they handle the earlier crisis management, what they have to do to overcome the crisis. So all these includes in the press kit. Press kit generally contains with the background material and a pen, a paper, or a rough scribe book. This is generally we know it. In the press conference, there is another session for the question and answers. So generally, the reporters were asked the questions. The CEO or MD, they answer to the press people. So one session related to the question and answers. First, the CEO or MD will discuss about their purpose of conducting the press conference. Later, sometime, maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever the time, they allot some time to the reporters to ask any questions, any queries. The CEO or MD or who is handling, who is a chief speaker in the press conference, he answers to the press personnel. Another major tool is in the public relations practice for the public relations manager or officer is a house journal. House journal in general, it's a non-profit making periodical publication published by a company to maintain contact with its employees and with the external public. Sometimes internal public also. In-house house journal is also there. External house journal is separate, and also in-house journal is also separate. Maybe it is depends on the company, their capacity, their budget. Already we know what is external public, what is internal public. I will again repeat here. Internal public means employees, family members of the employees, board members of the internal public, and external public means the customers, the retailers, the wholesalers, or stakeholders, shareholders. All these comes under the external public. The value of a house journal in promoting good public relations both internally and externally has been provided behind doubt. So no doubt if the management is announcing bonus to the employees, for example. So in the house journal itself, it is printed in the house journal with the details. It is the public, means internal public, means all the employees. They may be work in another branch, they may be work in another place, even though they get the full details in the house journal. The public relations practitioner's duty is to prepare and edit and publish a house journal, writing some articles to the house journal, and you have to be collect the information from the various other departments, HR, finance. We have a production department. So the information collected, the data collected from the various departments, which have to be molded in the readable form. Because, for example, in a finance, so there is numbers, tables, many number of tables that should not be understood by a ground level employee or a small retailer. So that should be converted into the easy way to understand any kind of people, any kind of public, means a ground level employee, otherwise a small retailer having he should know, he should understand the details of the finance of the company. Here we have the convergence of technology, the convergence and development of technology. Now, many organizations are producing e-journals instead of print journals. Earlier, there is a print journal is only the tool, but now we have e-journals. Many organizations now they are sending their journal. They are producing in the e-form. E-form means electronic form through various digital platforms. Every employee can read it, their e-journal at a small place from a long away from the head office, even though. It is also benefit to the company instead of printing. Printing is generally it's a more expensive. E-journal is cost effective. Newsletters, another kind of tool for the publications practice, for the publications officer. A newsletter is a publication that is written periodically and posted to the members of a society, employees, dealers, business, or organization, and provides informal or confidential news that is particularly of the interest to the group. The difference between the house journals and newsletters. What is the difference between the house journals and newsletters? House journal, which distributed to all places, means it goes to the small retailer, wholesaler, or a employee in a ground level employee, whatever. But newsletters is particularly focused on some people. For example, a commission between the dealer and the employer. Sorry, the MD of organization. Commission related to the information. So here is the newsletter only focus on the dealer. They mention the business of the communication, business communication of the commission, the percentage maybe. So it is not required to know all the public. So for that, newsletters is focused on particular group. The contents of each newsletter are usually different and targeted as the members of that group. Only particular group they targeted. Newsletter are also a common marketing strategy. Tips to bring out a newsletter. For newsletter, it is required research your subject first. For example, so generally there is a wing, but publications officer duty is to collect the data and produce a newsletter based on data. So you need to do some research how it should easily understand the particular group. Find out the most important message that your public wants to have and decide on the name and frequency of the newsletter and stick it to. Newsletters generally already we have discussed, it is also periodicity. Original also periodicity. Periodicity means in general newspapers, that is a daily. The periodicity is daily. We have a Sunday magazine in the newspaper. Every newspaper now we are reading Sunday magazine. The periodicity of Sunday magazine is 1 week. Sometimes some newspapers, print newspapers, monthly newspapers we have, and weekly newspapers we have, magazines we have. So that is the periodicity. Where is the content meant to include different types of articles? In the newsletter, generally focuses on the news-oriented information. News, features, editorial opinion, question and answers, letters to editor, like how we read the newspaper. That kind of contents includes in the newsletter. Whereas in house journal for in general, in the house journal, for example, an employee who drawn a picture, if that is a good, it will publish in the house journal. A employee who, a family member of the employee, for example, who wrote a poem, maybe that is also published in the house journal. But in particular to the newsletter, coming to the newsletter, maybe the information related to and focused on the news information. And in general, we have discussed for all other writings, headline. Have a headline for every article and a caption for every picture. Carefully check for spelling and grammar errors and carefully construct a mailing list. So newsletters, again, here also the technology we are now sending e-newsletters. So mailing list, house journal for all people, even out of the public, out of the organization, also can access the house journal. But newsletter is mainly focused on the target group. So for that, the publications officer has need to prepare a mailing list. Brochure, one kind of a news tool, one kind of a tool for the publications to practice. Brochure is a small booklet with about 20 pages, 16 pages, or 24 pages, sometimes 8 pages. A brochure is a piece of paper or a digital copy that is usually folded into 3 sections with the information inside out about an event, company, brand that the company wants to share with the public and the buyers. Generally, we see the brochures in the fold, 1 fold, 2 fold, or 3 folds like this. It contains generally some minimum pages, like 12 pages, or 18, 16 pages, or 20 pages, or 24 pages. Another tool is OpenHouse. OpenHouse is one major practice in the publications, because OpenHouse we see in the police stations there is a OpenHouse. They display all their arms on the for public, for students, for public advertisements. So the products were displayed in that place. So it's also one kind of a business type. For OpenHouse, the publications officer is need to identify and finalize the location and choose the products and services which are need to display in the open house. In general, for example, a pen, just we know the final product of the final product in a, in the form of in a physical form of a pen. But in the open house, they displays each part, how to prepare, what kind of material need to produce a cap or a refill or a ink, even though the steel stand, everything displays in the open house. So it gives the more awareness to the public. Generally, open houses introduced with the introduction of the CEO who starts the open houses, and he explains about their products, their services for the public customers, all those. And it is also one kind of the advertisement. Instead of giving an advertisement in the newspapers or television or radio or social media, they conduct an open house. So it gives more information about their services and products. Exhibition is one kind of tool. An exhibition is an organized presentation, a public show of things and display of selected items. We see exhibitions, food exhibitions, and product exhibitions, and the services exhibition, reality exhibitions. So this is not exhibition that we are enjoying. It's a type of like a entertainment. It means a giant wheel exhibition. That is not different. That is a different one. Here is the exhibition means is purely depends of the products or services of the organization. So generally, people who believes when we see the product in a physical. In case if we are giving one advertisement about the pen in the newspaper, so the writers don't believe whether the pen is works good or not. But in the exhibition, they visit that exhibition, they see the product, they test it also. It's possible in the exhibition. So generally public or customers, if they see, they believe it. For that purpose, they conduct the exhibition. Exhibitions and public relations. What is the role of public relations here in the exhibitions? So generally, it's one kind of tool that helps the public relations officer to expose, to communicate their customers, their publics, their stakeholders, their shareholders, various kind of publics means already we have known it. Exhibitions are a publications medium and also a tool if used to create awareness, enhance reputation, and also sell products. We see sometimes in newspaper advertisements, otherwise pamphlets, exhibition comes sale. Exhibition comes sale means it is a choice, it's a chance, it's an opportunity to sell their products in the exhibition. It is possible if we conduct exhibitions. Another tool is annual reports. What is annual report? Why it is required? Annual report is a comprehensive report on a company's activities throughout the preceding year. Generally, once in a year, communication document of a company published under the Companies Act. Annual report is the key tool in promoting financial relations. If the financial relations are good, if the company is in the profits, the shareholders, they invest in that company. So the main purpose is financial, to maintain a financial relations with the shareholders, partners. For that purpose, they release annual reports. Photographs. Earlier only the print medium. Then before it, we have only radio medium. Later, some 200 years ago, we have a printing process. Printing machines available all over the world. So, in the newspapers or in any kind of print material, either brochure, newsletters, house journal, newspapers, the photographs are plays a major role. It gives the more attention to the readers. Then there is a proverb, the explanation of 1,000 words gives by a single photograph. So that is the importance of a photograph. Images and photos are powerful, and also it's easy to understand the reader. Without photograph, it will not be much effective. Pictures are easy to understand, remain longer in memory. This is the main concept. Instead of reading, we may forget after a few days. But if we included image in the house journal, in the newsletter, in the brochure, in the newspaper, the reader may remember for a long time. Now coming to the discussion on electronic public relations. What is EPR? Practice of public relations using the new media, the internet, email, blog, web, and social media in the center stage may be called e-public relations. We have a public relations 2.0 earlier, and now public relations 3.0, public relations 4.0 means the development of the technology, emerging of the various mediums, means voice, audio, visual, multimedia, graphics, all these included in the nowadays media platforms. E is for electronic. The E in a public relations is the same E that comes before email and e-commerce to mean the electronic medium of the internet. E for public. Public means already known, internal public and also external publics. R is for relations, building relations between an organization and its public on the internet. There is e-public relations is focusing on the internet, based on the internet. So attracts the people through the internet media. Advantages of public relations. The first one is constant communication. It is possible now we may communicate with the public in a 24/7, means 24 hours, 365 days of a year. So means every minute can available to the customer. How it is possible? Generally, the organizations they establish the call centers. So there is a the employees to run the call center. So the customer can contact the customer care number at any time. 24 hours they can contact and they get the information about the product. They may get the clarifications. It is possible with the e-publications. And instant response. One can respond instantly to emerging issues via internet. Global audience. One can communicate all over the world at no extra expense. Already we have discussed if a customer from the America, from the Australia, it is possible through internet. He make a phone call, he contacts the customer call center through not only the phone calls, there is a many multiple choices to send an email, to send a message, to send a SMS. Now we have multiple chatbots for the organization. For example, for railways, IRCTC, there is a one chatbot, Disha, the name. It's a robo, like a robo. Instantly, it gives the answers to the person. Many organizations now they are adopting this kind of chatbots. And audience feedback also immediately we can reach. Earlier there is no internet facility. The customer, if he gets any trouble, otherwise he maybe need to give any suggestions to the company. So he need to write a letter on a postcard, and it is to be posted, and it will reach the company after 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, or 1 week. But based on the e-publications, and the advantage of internet, the immediate feedback is possible. Another advantage is two-way communication. So our publications officer can immediately answer, or otherwise a person reputed to work on this process, he or she, they answer to the customer immediately. It's a possible with after two-way communication. If there is a no e-publications, how may get the feedback? Earlier, without internet, means there is no practice of e-public relations. The customer, again I am telling you, the customer need to write a letter to the company. It's reached after 5 days or 10 days or whatever it is. Depends on the area, the distance. Another advantage is cost effective. So internet cost is compared with the print or electronic or this other electronic media or print media, compared with the electronic media or other processing, like print version of a house journal, print version of a newsletter. Comparing with that, the e-publications is more cost effective, with a less amount. With the less amount, they gives the information to the particular group or mass media, mass communication, mass people, or a target audience, or a public. Everything is possible with the e-publications practice. In general, publications officers, already we have discussed some tools about the publications manager or publications officers to contact with the media. Now, some additional burden, additional works have to be looking the public relations manager or officer. The public relations disciplines include some specific relations have to be maintained. For the business strategy, he or she need to maintain some financial public relations. The public relations officer need to say whether if the management is planning to conduct a program. If public relations officer who known cost effective, so he may suggest the management with the alternative mediums or with the alternative solutions to cost cutting and lifestyle public relations, consumer public relations also need, if the customer is coming to the meet the public relations officer, then we have to communicate him or she has to communicate with him or his or him. So here he requires some lifestyle public relations also, gaining publicity. So there is you have to remember, publicity means always not a positive, maybe sometimes it's a positive and negative. This everyone must keep in mind this point. So publicity for a particular product or service through feedback, it is gaining some publicity with the feedback. Crisis communication, crisis management, responding in a crisis. So the public relations officer need to give some suggestions to overcome that crisis. Internal communication, communicating within the company itself, means all the employees, all the officers, all the managing directors, even though sometimes CMD, CEO, it's also a part of a public relations officer to maintain an internal communication. Another one is government relations, engaging with the government departments, government officials, and also the public representatives to influence bureaucrats. So it is also part in the public relations practice. And food-centric relations. What is their food-centric relations? Food-centric means, so generally there is a some misleading statement. Generally, many are thinking that the public relations is all about the wine and dine. The public relations officer generally conducts, means they offers the food to maintain the relations with the media personnel or maintain the relations with the particular groups. That is maybe happening in some companies, and that is not only means that is the only relations is not a good for the public relations practitioner. So we need to maintain some kind of relationship with the public, with the media persons. So don't be focused on the food. And sometimes public relations officers need to maintain the public affairs. You need to contact the opinion leaders. You need to contact the experts. All it is, there is a particularly some group of people who manage all these works But even though public relations officers also need to coordinate with them, sometimes we need to consult, we need to communicate with them, and we himself be as a coordinator for the management and also for the opinion leaders. The public relations officer's desk is always in the front of the organization. So various kind of people, public or related to the company, they make their choice is to contact the public relations officer to get the information. Yeah, so far we have discussed the tools and how to be maintain media relations by the public relations officer with the various options he has. I to repeat again, to release a press release, to conduct a press conference, to conduct to produce house journals, newsletters, brochures, and to conduct open house, to conduct exhibitions, and to release annual reports. All these are the tools for the public relations officer. In the next session, we will discuss the importance points related to the public relations as a strategic management function, and what are the other managements in an organization like HR, finance, marketing. We know all these kind of departments located are established in the organization. So public relations officer need to coordinate all these other managements, the personnel of the other managements also. So we will discuss the main principles of functions and characteristics of management and other important disciplines which is relative with the public relations in the next session. Thank you, my dear students. Have a nice day. If you have any questions, you may chat. You may chat on the chat room. If there is no queries, I will conclude the session at this time. We will again gather in the next session. Thank you very much.